So Keemstar has this tweet. It says 2023 runway models. PSA, this is how you do inclusivity in fashion. And I got mixed feelings about this. I don't really care all that much about if they're going to do a fashion show and have people of different body types walking around showing off clothing, because that's reality. But there's also the context of, why is this reality? Now, hold on. You got this woman in a wheelchair. I got no issue with that. Yo, if you want to do runway and you want to show off clothes and you've got someone who's in a wheelchair, I can respect that. Have them come out and be like, look, need to use a wheelchair. We got to set up machines, devices, medical aid for a lot of people, and it's not their fault they're in a wheelchair, unless they're like in a wheelchair because they're morbidly obese. But this video is pretty short, so let me play it for you. Give you a sampling of what we're dealing with here. So you got a big woman, then you've got some women, tall woman, pregnant woman. Oh, she's pregnant. Okay, and then you got a woman and two fat women. And so the idea is like inclusivity, I guess. The other thing too is like, I really don't care all that much about the pregnant woman who's doing modeling, because like women get pregnant. I also don't have like the biggest problem with women breastfeeding in public either, but I don't know, maybe they would prefer some privacy, whatever. Don't really care all that much. Look, the first thing I'll say is, do whatever you want. You want to have a woke, inclusive runway thing with like, obese people, like, I don't care. People are allowed to eat and gorge themselves. Just don't simultaneously do that while trying to tell me that I should pay for the healthcare of these people. But here's the bigger question I had when I started seeing this and why I wanted to talk about it. Who are they selling clothes to? I guess to your average person. Okay, here's the crazy thing, right? It used to be that models were like the cream of the crop, the sexiest, the best. You wanted 10 out of 10, the unicorn of women and men. Dudes were all super ripped, but like not too ripped like bodybuilders, like cut and tall and chiseled. So some of these guys were just, they had natural good looks and then they exercised. As for women, you got tall women, told them not to eat too much and be skinny. And then everyone said, yeah, that's very attractive. And what was attractive can change over time, that I get. But then what happens is people would want to buy these products. Men and women would want to be as sexy as they can be. Not all of them. We started seeing a problem with sedentary lifestyles and obesity rising throughout, I guess, consistently since, the 60s or 70s? And now it's reaching just a ridiculous degree. But I have to wonder about this because I do not believe men find this attractive. So then why would women buy these products? Why would women buy these clothes? For other women. It's almost like dudes don't exist anymore. I guess, the way things are going. We've seen a couple other stories, too, that I want to highlight here. Calvin Klein, this is from May of last year. Calvin Klein releases its Pride Month 2022 collection featuring rainbow underwear. And it's like, yeah, I really don't care about that. But they have morbidly obese models. And I'm like, yeah, like I understand if you're trying to sell products to a small portion, like you're doing a directed marketing campaign. The LGBTQ community is like very small. They say among Gen Z that like 30% identify as such, but that's just not, that's more of like a social thing. But so like if you're trying to sell a product to somebody, what is it? What's the implication when you choose to have morbidly obese individuals represent those clothing? Like, could you not find a fit trans man because they exist? Like Buck Angel is a trans man, and Buck Angel is, my understanding, like toned and like massively in shape, like working out. Couldn't do that one. It's almost like they want you sickly, and not just, LGBTQ people. It's like they want everyone, everywhere to be sickly. You've got this too. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we have Calvin Klein and I think Victoria's Secret have also done general morbidly obese ads to the regular public, to the general public. And then we have this story from Cosmo. This is from October of 2019. It's 4 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. Victoria's Secret's new collab features long overdue inclusivity, but not everyone is thrilled. And this is where the conclusion of all of this. So let me just put it this way. You start telling people it's, you get big fat models. Why? Because people are big and fat. And they're like, nobody's looking at the stuff. I can't fit into that. I'm not going to look like that. So we need to sell products to people that we will tell them look good on morbidly obese people. But that doesn't work. because guys still don't want it, you know? Let me show you this tweet. Look, underneath it, Keemstar says, just a personal preference, but these models are way better. And then there's, you know, like scantily clad, long legs women, all smiling, and look, ethnically diverse. You know, how about that? I don't think that guys find this attractive because they're told to. I think guys find this attractive, and that's why we put these women up in these positions. But now they're not only doing obese, they're doing, they have trans models as well. And so I saw this, and I don't know for sure, but I've, you know, apparently one of these individuals is biologically male and one is plus size. And I'm like, really? Apparently this person right here is the plus size model. And I'm like, she ain't that big, for real. Like, I'm not even like, I'm talking about the morbid obesity, like over here. And you know, I know people are going to defend it by me calling it morbid obesity, but it is morbid obesity. That's almost, I would argue, moribundly obese. Moribund. I like that word, moribund. You know what that means? Means on the verge of death, like your last gasping breath. And you know, I am not saying it to insult these individuals. I want to directly call out the machine. And some may argue it's capitalism. Yeah, maybe. These businesses want to make money. We can argue they've been captured by activists, or we can argue they're chasing after what the narrative is. And that narrative will chase itself to death. It's an addiction. At a certain point, you have to stop and say, I will not go any further. But not everybody does. I'll give you a story. Joey Salads. You guys know Joey, right? Joey Salads was a YouTuber, Viner, prankster, and he would make these videos. One day he made a video and he was like, I'm going to park a car in a black neighborhood with Trump stickers and Trump stuff in it and see what happens. And then he's like, oh no, look. And then a bunch of black people were smashing the car. Turns out he staged the whole thing. Somebody who lived in the building was filming him stage the whole thing and then waited for him to release the video and then released theirs. Boom. All of a sudden, Joey was busted. And so I talked to him about it. And he said he didn't realize how far gone he had gotten. Like, he was making these videos and they were getting clicks. And then he just kept one-upping. At a certain point, you have to say, no way, man. Because just stimulating dopamine and giving people what they want to see in confirmation bias isn't going to make you better. It's not going to save your business. It's going to corrupt and destroy your business. And I see it all over the place. I see on YouTube some of the best people slowly shifting into producing rage bait garbage where it's just like, dude, that is not the apocalypse. Calm down. I see people who will make videos, and it's primarily on the left. I know. There we go. And they make videos saying, you know, like I bring it up, the Young Turk saying, Tim Pool's ugly. He's right, but he's ugly. Like, they have to make a video hating. Now, I don't make this video hating these people. I don't care what they do. I don't care if these people want to eat their heart's content and get fat. I'm just going to argue like, well, you know, I'm not going to pay you for your health care. I'm not going to agree with universal health care. This is what you're doing. Eating till you're sickly. But my point is just this. It's an artifact of capitalism. You know, and people are saying like capitalism would work better. And this is more kind of like cronyism. And people will say like the only reason the system is the way it is right now is because the government is subsidizing, blah, blah. It doesn't explain this. The government's not subsidizing this stuff. They're chasing it. The narrative machine is corrupting. It's in flames. And it's shifting into this weird algorithmic nonsense. Now, you can argue, and people do, that the government got involved with big tech and helped prop them up and all that stuff. And I'm like, dude, people, when given the chance, will chase the dopamine hits. Nobody created this show but me. Nobody's propping it up. No one's making you watch it. I make what I make. And the same is true for all the other YouTubers. Now, I'm sure there are some who are in some way influenced or controlled opposition or something like that. But people drift into insanity and absurdity because the money is there for it. Or at least they think it is. And then the money stops coming because your product becomes insane. So how many people look at Calvin Klein and look at these ads and are like, ooh, I want to look like that? Perhaps several, but just several. The other reality is how many actual regular people see these ads? Probably very few. But that being said, I think it was Calvin Klein that took out a big billboard in New York, several, with a morbidly obese, I mean moribundly obese, like 300 plus pounds. And it was like, be yourself or something. And I'm like, okay, everybody sees that, right? Like, this is unhealthy. You will die. But I guess that's it. They want you sickly. I'll wrap it up by saying this, man. Do your inclusive model runway thing with a pregnant woman, fat people, and a woman in a wheelchair. I just do your thing. I don't care. Who's going to these things? What's the purpose of these events? And who are they selling products to? I don't know. Whatever. Sell to whoever you want. I guess I'll just say, good luck. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I'll see you all shortly.